Hello. We just turn. Nope. Down the desktop audio a little bit. And there we go. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my stream. Gonna be playing the Ace Attorney Chronicles. Select Adventure. I've actually never played this game before, so I'm quite excited. There we go. New game. Oh, it's got cutscenes.
The Empire of Japan. After opening its doors, a push for cultural transformation brought great waves of Western influence to this far eastern island nation.
Ooh.
The revolution washed over the land, making life in the capital exciting and unsettling. It was a period of great change, and some was swept away by the tide.
Oh. Oh. Murder. Murder?
But for one man, the turbulence of that era was just the beginning of an extraordinary story.
Did he just accidentally shoot a man? I'm so confused. Bienvenue au la Carnival. And halting French. Bienvenue au la Carnival. 22nd November, 8:34 a.m. This game is really loud. Just turn that down a little bit. Supreme Court of Judicature. Defendants Antechamber 5. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe this is happening. How can it be just beyond the doors to this quiet little chamber? It's the highest court in Japan, waiting to decide my fate. Oh, it's three-dimensional. What? Oh, no, nothing. Savior glares. Sorry. I'm a second-year student at the Imperial Yume University. Just 3 days ago, I somehow found myself in the middle of a horrifying incident. And now here I am, awaiting my trial. That's enough! He is not obligated to listen to such abuse, officer. And who are you? I'm this man's lawyer. I'll be defending him today. Lawyer? Yes. Until the judge has given his verdict on the case, no one has the right to treat him as a criminal. So you will hold your tongue. Technicalities. Look at you. You haven't even graduated yet. And yet, I still seem to know better than you how a court officer should behave. Right, Ryunosuke? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. What are you apologizing to me for? Oh, No, I suppose that wasn't my fault. But really, Kazuma, I never meant to drag you into this. I'm sorry. There you go again, apologizing. Just like always. Hello. Ah. Am I quite loud, or is the game quite loud? I wonder. Looks like my Fugi is not working right at the moment. Oh. No. I guess my mouth just won't be moving today. I just noticed that. My Fugi is not working. I sound okay? Okay, good. How about the game? Is the game too loud? Though I must say, you've been all over the newspapers these past few days. Yume University professor murdered in cold blood by student. Okay, good. It's definitely not as loud as yesterday's game. That one was much louder at the beginning. In fact, on the sound setting, it says actually only on 1, because it's so loud. But, yeah. As for my Fugi, I'm going to reopen. Yeah. I'm gonna close down my little application that has it, and then I'm gonna reopen it, because I think it glitched. So I'm gonna disappear for a second. Let's see. Am I back? Oh, there we go. Here we go, I fixed it. Yeah, my mouth got frozen for a sec. I don't know why. I don't really know what happened, but something happened. But obviously, you didn't actually do it, did you? Of course not! You have to believe me! I didn't do it! I could never murder someone. Then there's nothing to worry about. Straighten yourself up. Hold your head high. Yeah, my Fugi apparently started to just, like, glitch or something. I think it, like, froze on the application I was using. You mean... I believe you. I know you're innocent, Ryunosuke. I think I'm doing a pretty good job of, like, pronouncing the names, even though I am very clearly not. I clearly don't know the language. Ryunosuke, I think, is technically, like, the intonation you would technically use in this language. But I'm gonna be saying the more Americanized version. Kazuma Asogi, my best friend. Also in his second year at Yume University. Yume University. I need to... But he's far more clever than I. A star student, in fact. It's close enough, don't worry. Yeah. Trying to make it sound not too bad, but not, like, worry about it too much with the pronunciation. You know? He's even a qualified lawyer. Impressive, considering he's still an undergraduate. It's not that impressive. The very concept of lawyers is only a few years old. Here in Japan, anyway. My qualifications don't mean much, yet. You said the exact same thing 3 days ago. But I'm proud to have a friend like you, Kazuma. Truly. I have a feeling I'm going to end up accidentally saying Kazuha again when referring to this man, because his name at the beginning is very similar. 3 days ago. Yes. That's when all this started. Congratulations, Kazuma. It looks like you're going to get to study abroad at last. I know! I've been dreaming forever of this day. Finally, those government elites have acknowledged my academic achievements and successes in court. I can't read. So you'll be representing Japan as you immerse yourself in the most sophisticated legal system in the world. I almost said that, and then I was like, wait, that's just Kazuma, not Kazuha. It's like one letter off, but a completely different name nonetheless. I'm really happy for you, and proud as your friend. There's not a single soul in the university who doesn't know Kazuma's name. He's a living legend. It's like there's some mysterious aura billowing around his temple. Probably has to do with the fact that his, like, headband thing is somehow wafting in a wind that's not there. I want to bring about a change in our own legal system. That's why I have to cross the ocean to see the real thing with my own eyes. The heart of the British Empire. I wish I could see it too. Then come with me. We'd have a wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's City of London together. If only it were that simple. Man's the main character. Yeah, he is. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better get going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little while longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. The idea that in Japan, Western restaurants are considered high-class is kind of wild to me, but it makes sense, especially considering that here in the West, we have, like, high-class Eastern, restaurants. Probably. I've never been to one, actually. Oh, shoot. I almost spilled my water over my microphone. That would not have been good. Whew. Yeah. Oh, we do have, yeah. See you in English class tomorrow, then, partner. Alright, just fixing my glasses. It was straight after that. That's when it happened. Asogi, may I have a word? Ooh, it's an older man. And his daughter? I think what this game is, I haven't, like, seen much of it, so I have no idea what the cases are, so I might have to ask, you to either I'm gonna look it up, or I might be like, hey, do you mind looking this up for me, because I have no idea what's going on, because, like, I've never seen any of the cases, I've only seen, like, snippets, nothing to do with, like, solutions to the case, but I have seen, like, some of the animations, it's great. But from what I understand, this is like a blast to the past. Basically, if I'm remembering this correctly, Ryunosuke is like considered or is thought to be, if not canonically, Phoenix Wright's like ancestor of sorts. In a sense. I think that's correct, I could be wrong. I know a lot about like Ace Attorney lore because I hyperfixated on it. But I don't know much about the cases and stuff in some of them. Like, the trilogy, I do know quite a bit about the cases a bit, because they're in the anime. But this wasn't an anime. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, that was not an anime. So I have no idea what the heck's gonna go on down in here. But, Professor, I didn't know you were coming. Oh, look at the fluff ball. Well, this case has personal significance to me. But never mind that for now. Asogi, you should go immediately to the judge's chambers. To His Excellency's chambers? Why? He was looking for you before. Your advocating for the defense in this trial was a sudden decision. It seems there may be some confusion about procedures today as a result. Who is this man? I feel as though I've seen him at university before. I see. I'll go at once then. I shall accompany you. Alright then. I need to wait for this to go first before I read, because otherwise I'm just gonna get lost. I'm like, ugh. Alright then, Ryunosuke. I'll see you in the courtroom. Yeah. If I ask for backseating, it's fine. Or if I'm like, I have no idea what's going on, I need a little help. But unprompted backseating is just gonna be like, I'm just like, hey yo yo. Yes, thanks, Kazuma. My opinion with backseating is if it's like advice type stuff, like not the type of where it's like clearly I want you to do this type of thing, or in that kind of message, or if like a suggestion, like I had in my other stream, like to hold on to some stuff in Stardew to do the community center stuff. That was fine. That's just a suggestion to, like possibly do that. That's like a, hey, it might be a good idea to do this, instead of being like, oh, do this, or the answer to this thing that you're looking for with unprompted is this. So, yeah, that's my stances on, yeah. Yeah. Yes, I know. It's just I have no idea what's anything in this game. It's fine though. I'm kind of excited to play this because it's like so pretty. It's also 3-dimensional. It's just sitting in silence. This is awkward. If I may. Yes, sorry. You must be the defendant. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe. For some reason, I go in between doing Americanized Japanese with not like bad, but then I go from like trying to actually try, and it's kind of funny. The graphics are really neat. In the original trilogy, it was like pixelated, and they revamped it. Now it's like drawn from like the one yesterday. But yeah, the graphics in this one are more updated to like what the games have become in like the second trilogy, with the one that includes Apollo Justice. Yes, that's right. My name is Eugene Mikotoba. I have to like look. Why is it an orange? I should have made this like low. I'm gonna change the graphics on that real quick because gameplay. There we go. There we go. That might, yeah, that's a little better. Okay. I couldn't read his name. It was a little too hard to read. My name is Eugene Mikotoba. Eugene Mikotoba. There we go. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yuma University. Yeah, that's like a specific shade of orange. Whenever it's clear, it's harder to read. Professor Mikotoba. I've heard of that name from Kazuo before. As I recall, he's been pushing to get the government to agree to Kazuma studying abroad. Asogi has told me about you. You and he are best friends, I understand. As such, I feel you should know. Know what? Well, as you've no doubt heard, Asogi has been granted permission to go ahead and study in Great Britain. However, if he should fail to defend you in today's trial, I'm afraid that permission will be revoked and never granted again. What? How is that fair? Like, dude? What the heck? That's not fair. What? As I expected. You were unaware of this. Yeah, I'm calling BS on that. How is that fair? This is like his first trial. Come on. I had a feeling. Oh, I thought there was a period there, my bad. I had a feeling Asoge may have chosen not to tell you. He's agreed to defend me, knowing that he fails. His dreams will be shattered. I don't understand. Why would the government do such a thing? The administration is chosen from a large number of applicants for overseas study. It is very difficult to persuade them to grant permission, even in the most favorable of circumstances. I don't believe it. But I didn't do it, I swear. I'm not a murderer. I'm sure that's true. Nevertheless, I can assure that proving your innocence will be no easy task. You see, there are certain peculiarities about today's trial. Sorry? I think I will be. I think this is like an instance where in the kind of like one of the trials in the original trilogy where you play as a different character and a character that you see in the first game technically it was put on trial for something and it's like a flash to the past, like a flashback type of game, or in that for at least that case. Sorry, what do you mean? You'll soon understand once proceedings get underway. But then what should I do? Yeah, I think this is like an instance of like before he became a lawyer, if I'm like reading this correctly. I genuinely have no idea about anything about the lore, but that's my best guess. Well, naturally, I'm not going to suggest doing anything that could lead to a conviction. Right, so as soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens, you must answer before anyone else. You must say, I do. I do? But what will the question be? Surely not, do you accept the accusations brought before you? Of course not. Defendant! Court is about to begin! Proceed to the courtroom at once! Apologies if I'm also really loud there. I'm gonna turn myself down a little bit, so I'm not screaming in y'all's ear, because I figured out my mic, like the more sensitive bit was like on the side, and I was actually having it tilted towards me, like an idiot. It would seem I do not know how to pronounce that word. I'm gonna Google help. How do you pronounce that word?
Surreptitious.
Surreptitious. Okay. I've never come across that word before in my life. It would seem our surreptitious discussions are to be cut short. That's an interesting word. I wouldn't have either. I was like, huh? So allow me to summarize. Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, as the defendant, the final decision is yours. What are you waiting for? Do you want to be found guilty for failing to appear? Get moving! There's no point in anyone advocating for the likes of you, anyway. I have a feeling that the question is gonna be, something along the lines of, do you want to defend yourself? I think. That's the vibe I'm getting. This is it. If this trial goes badly, Kazuma's dreams of studying abroad are over. And what's more... surreptitious? Kept secret especially because it would not be approved of. He'd be found guilty of murder. And so, with absolutely no idea of what lay ahead, I embarked on that unforgettable trial. My one and only chance of proving my innocence. The trial that would decide my destiny. Ooh. And left a little, like, gears that were in the corner. November 2nd. Oh, let me just wait for it to... November 22nd, November, 9 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Judicature? Hold on, let me look that one up. Judicature. Pronunciation.
Judicature.
Judicature. That's a difficult word to pronounce. Judicature. Courtroom 2. Look at how terrified this man looks. No. He looks absolutely traumatized. Poor guy. Oh, no. He looks so freaking terrified. Oh, poor guy. So, this is a courtroom. So terrified, man. Oh my gosh. Poor guy. The Supreme Court of Judicature. No court in the land has more power. Bro's gonna be okay. He looks so freaking. His eyes are still moving. I don't much like the look of these people, those people sitting in the public gallery. Lots of military and other uniforms in there. That's gotta be terrifying. The powers that have demanded that this be a secret trial. A secret trial? A trial that's closed to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend. What? But why? It'll become clear in time, but for now... You need to concentrate, Unit Ryanosuke. It's about to begin. Oh no! Trying to find... Look at the judge. The court will now hear the trial of Ryanosuke Naruhodo. The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency. Ouchie. Ouchie! Why is his name Ouchie? Why is his name Ouchie? I know. They went a lot more obvious on the Oh. Whoops. My bad. They went a lot more obvious. The on the puns this time. The prosecution is ready, Your The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency. Why is that hard to pronounce in this voice? As is the defense. Drinking my water. Before we begin, there is one point of order I would like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made a last-minute request for a change of advocate. And that's correct, Your Excellency. I made the request myself. Ryanosuke looks absolutely terrified. He's just like, I feel like I'm about to be shot. Normal procedure is for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to trial. As this is an unusual circumstance, I am obligated to ask for final confirmation now. Oh, yeah, I was right! I was right! Kazuma. Who advocates for the defendant in this trial?
This must be the question. Who's going to defend me? That's the question the professor meant.
But then, if I say I do...
I need to answer quickly. What should I do?
Answer I do? It's just like, Your Excellency, no confirmation is needed. As I'm standing here right beside the defendant, I hope it's... Oh, I could not. Yeah! He's like... I hope I didn't just fuck it up. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. What is the meaning of this unruly outburst? I would like to inform the court that... Oh. I'm surprised he's not sweating. Ryunosuke Naruhodo will be defending myself. You'll be... What? I'm just like...
What are you playing at, Ryunosuke?
Professor Mikitoba told me everything just now before the trial. He did what?
He said that your dreams of studying abroad would be dashed if you were to lose.
How sad. It means you don't have faith in me. You think I won't be able to get you off.
No, it's not that, really. It's just that I only have a chance that things don't go well for me. I couldn't bear to be the reason that you...
I think he's kind of mad. Yes, I knew that's how you'd feel, which is exactly why I decided not to tell you. Professor Mikitoba shouldn't have stuck his nose in. Very well. The court hereby recognizes the defense's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial.
Well, does the accused admit defeat already? Renouncing his own counsel? Really?
Make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent, he's confident he can speak for himself. Isn't that so, Naruhodo-san?
Oh, yes, exactly.
This must be where Phoenix gets his bluffing abilities.
I do have faith in you. You can do this, Kazuma. I just don't want you to, on the off chance that you lose, for me to be the cause of you losing your dreams. Exactly what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all.
In fact, my mind's
completely blank.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is where Phoenix Wright gets all of his personality from. This ancestor right here. This guy right here. If I'm remembering correctly as well, in the original translation for Phoenix Wright, because it was originally made in Japan, Phoenix's last name was originally Naruhodo, which was part of a pun, which means something along the lines of correct, if I'm remembering this right. So that's why in the English translation his name is Phoenix Wright, so that they can make the right joke. Everyone's name here is a pun. It's great. I realize you're in charge now, but still, try not to look so bewildered. The anxiety comes from Ryunosuke. Yes, his anxiety genes were very dominant.
Well, for a mere university student to be brought before the Supreme Court, you must have perpetrated the most heinous crime indeed.
As you are no doubt aware, this is the Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. Accordingly, the very highest standards of conduct are expected of all present. Do I make myself clear, Defendant Naruhodo?
Yes, Your Excellency.
It is therefore my duty to assess your competence for the task you have undertaken.
Oh, this is basically the same thing as the first trial in the first game, like where you like make sure you're good, you got the stuff, right?
My competence? What does that mean? He's questioning your ability to do the job.
Well, he can't be questioning it more than I am.
So, let's start with the very simplest of questions.
Oh, yes!
Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case.
Well, that's easy enough. I've heard his names more times than I'd care to remember. But, wait. Oh, I'm so nervous I can't even remember that. What was it again? Phoenix did the exact same thing on his first trial. Oh no.
Ryunosuke. Let me guess. Your mind's gone blank. Wait. Wait a damn minute.
Wait a damn minute. No, please tell me this isn't gonna go how Mia went. No! Not again! Please!
You know me so well.
I just thought of that. Oh no!
All of the relevant information for this case can be found in the court record.
But I can't even find that.
It's simple. You can access the court record with the press of E.
E.
Just E to get to the court record. I'm gonna grab a snack from my fridge real quick. I'm gonna grab a cookie.
This is a good cookie. If you ever find you've forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there. I just have to press E for the court record. Alright, there's no time to lose. And this is the list of evidence you've collected. Now trying to switching to people instead with E. You'll find details about the victim in here. When you're done, just press Z to go back.
Senu, no. He's 23. I didn't know what his age was either. I just figured he was, like, kind of old. There we go. Ate my cookie. Now I'm gonna
Put water down. Kazuma Asogi. A second year at the Imperial Yuma University. He's my best friend, and despite being a student, a qualified defense lawyer as well. Eugene Toba. I almost got it correct. 42. A medical school professor at the Imperial Yuma University. He's an authority in forensic medicine and Kazuma's mentor. Takatsuchi Ouchi. The lead prosecutor of this case, who would appear to have little love for the changes in the cultural reform has brought about. John H. Wilson, 47. The victim of this case. He was a visiting professor of medicine at Yuma University from the British Empire. And Takatsuchi Ouchi is 51. So remember, everything has to do with the current case. Everything to do with the current case can be found in the court record. Yeah, he does look a lot more mature. Now, you better not keep His Excellency waiting any longer. Go on. John H. Wilson.
Yes!
The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson.
Well, at least you can remember the name of an esteemed member of your own university.
Dr. Wilson was a visiting professor from England, invited to Yuma University 3 years ago. Damn, Grandpa Ouchie. Indeed. Which is the reason why this case has such profound implications. The British Empire is at present our country's most valuable foreign ally. And as most of you will be aware, we have just signed a new treaty together, after lengthy negotiations. There can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation.
And yet, despite these delicate circumstances, the blood of an Englishman has been spilt on our soil. You two are both undergraduates at the Imperial Yuma University, are you not? Murdering a professor from the very institution that provides your education? Have you no honor?
But I didn't do it. This case is coming under great scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. The court therefore wishes for a speedy resolution to this matter. In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policymakers. And you're a convenient and expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime. So that's why this trial has these unusual peculiarities, is it? Exactly. Our government needs to convict someone as quickly as possible. All because the victim was an Englishman. Yes, Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. The fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime. Oh, hell no. Politics, no! Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. The British Empire. Wow, it's incredible to think... Wait. I've seen that man at the university. I'm sure he's a visiting professor from Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still, I should go and say hello. I just dropped my ring on my laptop. Oops. So I went over to the professor's table. I was about to say princess, I think. He's not a princess. He's a professor. And introduced myself to Dr. Wilson.
Oh, nice!
Now then, let me pose my next question to you, Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. How did this professor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson, lose his life? State before the court the cause of death. Cause of death. Well, obviously that was, Reinosuke? Remember that in court, every assertion must be backed up by evidence. By evidence? But how? E. Find the piece of evidence that shows the professor's cause of death and select present. Do it now. Death occurred a little after 2 p.m. and was caused by loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Oh. That's cool. I can't examine that. He got shot in the chest. Oof. Present is R. Yes. I love the art style for this game, though. It's very pretty. Well, according to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhagic death due to gunshot trauma. I'm pretty sure he's just, like, trying to figure out how to pronounce it, dude. Learn to read, you imbecile! That's the post-mortem report, I take it. Sorry, yes, that's right. The, post-mortem report. In the West, doctor dissects the corpses to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusions that way. Oh my god, wait, what if he was poisoned? But that's not, like, what killed him. But, like, what if he was, like, being poisoned or some shit? Like, who knows what could be going on inside his body if they didn't do an autopsy. Not everyone can read first try. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I see. As long as I'm not going to be tested on any of this later.
This so-called photographic print of the scene of the... This is... blah, 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 I can't read. This is a so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. You can clearly discern scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the powder. That means he was really... whoever shot him was really, really close by. And the only reason I know this is because I tend to watch a lot of crime-solving shows. Like, NCIS and, like, true crime shows sometimes. Like, my mom would watch them. And have them on, and so I would, like, learn about crime scenes. It's actually quite fascinating when you look into it. It's like, huh. Like, forensics and stuff is really interesting. In other words, we should assume that the victim was shot at close range. Yeah, they're really, interesting to watch. I especially like the NCIS series. Like, I grew up watching that pretty much. And, I grew up, like, watching it as, like, a kid. For some reason, it didn't bother me that much. I don't know why. Like, some scenes, they would, like, scare me. Like, they'd kind of gross me out a bit, but, like, they wouldn't scare me. Yeah! True crime shows are a good way to not leave your house at night. Thank you, counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record. The photographic print of the victim has been entered into the court record. So that's a photographic print. Well, that's something I've never seen before. Oh, goodness. It's clearly superior to a drawing. The detail's incredible. But with drawing, you can't get what I am! You can't get me! Because without drawing, I don't exist. A bit of meta for y'all. Without drawing, I don't exist. Because I wouldn't be here otherwise. And neither would you. It's so meta. Yes. Yes, it is. I'm gonna break the fourth wall so hard. Very well. I'm satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial. What are you doing? Certainly, Your Excellency. So, without further ado, in order to better apprise the court with the facts of the case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened. Let me guess, it's gonna be another Frank saw it situation, and this guy actually is the one who did it. This is it then. I think I might have worked out what the professor had in mind. Professor? You mean Dr. Mikatoba? I mispronounced his name so bad, and I mispronounced mispronunciation. And saying mispronounce. Blah, blah, blah. Yes. Clearly you're the defense lawyer today, not me. But that doesn't mean... Well, I can still act as your assistant. Ah! Of course! When he was speaking with me earlier, he simply said, Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Maybe, but any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is, rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the sweats. Only if you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stares first. Look at his eyes. Gaze into their beauty. Simping for the fictional man, I guess. Oh, the butler. Or, no, not a butler, a waiter. I don't know my roles. My bad. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please. Hosanaga. Of course. My name is Satoru Hosanaga. I am the head waiter at the Western-style restaurant called La Carnival. What the My dude, are you good? Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some, All of the men seem to be fine. It's a regular occurrence. It doesn't really bother me. Well, it really should. Why are you coughing up bloods, my dude? Hello? As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, an Occidental eatery 3 days ago. Go to a doctor, yeah. If you're coughing up blood, you should probably go to the doctor, unless it's somehow, like, a chronic condition where you, like, get bloody phlegm in your lungs or something, and you cough it up, and it's just, like, a common occurrence. If it's, like, something that randomly starts up one day, go to the freaking doctor. If it's, like, a chronic thing, then maybe not, because... Oh yeah, true. Wear a mask, dude. Put a handkerchief over your mouth. Understood. Hasanoga-san. Okay, I can't pronounce that right. No, like, it took me a minute. I was like, wait, did I pronounce that right? You will kindly tell the court everything you can tell about the incident.
At once, sir.
And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please.
Oh, perspirating maybe, but aspiring? It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We have a few diners at that time of day. The lunchtime rush was over, and there was only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory of it, too. There was hardly anyone else in the place. It was when I was in the kitchen putting away crockery and cutlery. A gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what happened.
Yeah, like before, I think you joined in, there was like an anime cutscene, and I was like, oh, yo, this game is cool. I knew some of the games had them, like the older trilogy, but I didn't know Great Ace Attorney Chronicles had it. It's so cool.
I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair. And standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student. Hold on. Let me just clarify something here. While I did pick up a gun I found laying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him.
You need to not interject. I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness's report of what he saw, you amateur.
But the next time you interrupt in an inappropriate time, you will be penalized, defended Naruhodo. Don't worry, Ryunosuke.
I thought he was about to say Naruhodo, but he was not. My bad. Yeah, I think if I get through this case, without, like, screwing it up, I think you'll be able to see the next one. It was really pretty. And it also had voice acting, too. It was so cool.
Don't worry, Ryunosuke. You'll have your chance to fight back.
I think what I'm gonna do for now, since I don't have to, like, do keyboard heavy stuff, I'm gonna go get this thing I have to elevate my laptop real quick, so if you hear background noises, that's just me grabbing stuff. So I'm gonna grab it so I don't have to, like, look down. Just to put a little less strain on my throat, I guess. Because I'm, like, looking down. Oh no, something fell. Okay. Oh, I put it the wrong way around. Whoops! It was already the right way around. My bad. Okay. Oop. Oh, now it's tilted down. Well, that's a little. Actually, that's a little better. I'm looking up a little bit more. There we go. That should be a little bit more comfortable. Yeah, that should. Yeah, that's a lot more comfortable, I think.
For now, we must quietly listen to the witness.
There we go. Definitely won't do this if I'm gaming a lot. But for games like Ace Attorney, this is perfect. I just have to, like, move my hand up above my head a little bit.
If I may confirm one point, waiter. Standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today.
Yes, without question.
I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim?
No. There was no one else around the table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Huh? Wait, what did he just say? There was no one else around that table. What's the matter, Reinosuke? That's just not right. When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello, there was a woman? There was a woman sitting opposite him at his table. Really? And that's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about this, about interjecting, but still, what should I do? I'm gonna look that up. Because I don't want it to fuck up. A waiter. Okay, it's okay. I didn't. There was a thing that popped up and it said to do a thing. I didn't open it because I didn't want to spoil myself. But just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table. Dear me. What are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, we're getting to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, as this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all? But I'm sure of what I saw. Hasanoko-san, is there any chance of you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy? No. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please have a look if you'd like to. Let me see. A sketch of the establishment's layout, drawn by yourself, I presume? That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. Where's the gentleman? I mean, even if he was seated alone, that doesn't mean somebody couldn't have come up to him and sat down with him later. Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well, is there a problem? I know. Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. I bet the reason he doesn't want to give it over is because there's something on it that can be revealed later. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. What the? Why are you coughing? Something certainly has shaken him. Can match the coughing noises. The waiter's business card has been added to the court record. He's lying. So, the court has now heard a precis of the case. Yes. At the moment, the gunshot was heard in the restaurant. The only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we are looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you. In other words, you may have some small reprieve in the terms of your inevitable punishment. I call this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense, if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial,
The prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime. If you say witness says, then that means one of them could have also done the crime, and you can find rabbit holes in some of their testimonies. What do you think I should do, Kazuma? There's more than one? Yeah. My I looked over and my stream was a little laggy, or at least buffering on my end, so it's fine now. What do you think I should do, Kazuma? What do you mean? Well, I'm going to be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? He's looking at him coldly again, like, oh no. Is it still lagging? It might be Susan. Let me see. Yep, nope, my, it's good now, I think. Oh, it isn't. Okay. My bad. I thought you meant it was lagging for you. I was like, oh, that's not good. Okay. Just making sure. Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual about these peculiarities. You said it, Professor Mikotoba said it, and so is the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw that trust back in my face? Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. Why is he hot? Are you just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet, Ryunosuke. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Then we'll see just how decisive this evidence really is. Sheesh, Daipan. Man's really went. I have no idea if that picked up. I don't know if that picked up at all, but I Daipanned my desk. Indeed. Prosecutor Ouchie, please continue with proceedings. Yes. Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. No, it didn't. Hold on, let me try again. This might be a little loud. I think it kind of picked up there, not really. I have no idea if it did or not. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be. Just a little bit, yes. My microphone's not very sensitive. In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever. Is that a threat? The prosecution calls its next witness. Very well. Or, no, that's the wrong voice. Very well, officer. Very well, officer. Bring forth the witnesses at once. If that woman shows up. What the?
Hello?
Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court.
Yes, sir! The great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Ayesa Nosa, reporting for duty. Duty, sir.
Blah, blah. Ayesa Nosa. Korakuta. I myself employ as a purveyor of fine arts and antiquity from the efflorescence of our nation, Nippon, and conduct my trade from Rasute, a humble premise in the 2nd District, Kiryo Korika Kuta. Kiryo Korikuta, you at your service. An antique dealer and a soldier. What an unusual pairing. Are you questioning the fact that they're on the stand together, or just that it looks? Because I think that's like a thing in this game. Like witnesses can be on the stand together. I think.
Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question.
They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned. Yeah, I think that's the whole gimmick of this set of games. Or this game, rather.
Myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question. Always past noon. And not infrequently converse with interested parties regarding the curios with which I make my business.
I can't understand a word that old man is saying. He's an antique dealer, and it sounds like he's a regular at La Carnival. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets La Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with rich clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer.
Now, both of you witnessed the precise moment of this atrocious incident. Is that correct?
Affirmative! The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war, sir! It was that black uniformed rogue infantryman over there who unloaded his firearms, sir!
This man is as possible to understand as the other. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said. So this is the decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. That's not very decisive at all. The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead. Yes. Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start. That's just he said, she said, yet BS. Yeah, that's not really decisive evidence, but also, to be fair, this is old Japanese law working in the Ace Attorney universe, so it could be that this was a valid way to do stuff at the time, but in the modern Ace Attorney way, it's not. Now, the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred. Blah, blah, blah.
Sir, yes!
Did I hear a child?
Sir, yes, sir! Standing by, ready to report, sir!
Unsavory memories of a most acerbic afternoon. I think that was a child. When what the witnesses saw. I heard a kid. Does this man have a kid on him? I was ingesting a regulation beef steak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man.
Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman.
At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. There it is again! I just observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Did he say from the back? He said from the back! Oh ho ho! Oh, that's interesting. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio. Either somebody else shot him that nobody knows about, or this guy's lying. Well, so you, Sergeant Nosa, actually witnessed the vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired at the weapon at the victim. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. There's the kid again. Why do you have a knife? My dude, why do you have a knife? That wicked university cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy.
What times we live in when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of day.
But I didn't shoot anyone. Is that really true, Ryunosuke? Yes. All I did was pick up the gun that I saw lying on the floor. After I said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and started drinking some coffee. Ohio edition? Japan, Ohio edition. When I finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant, when I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. Huh? I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it. So I bent down, and just as I was picking it up, it went off in his hand. Well, if that's the truth, there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. There is? Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witnesses. Cross-examine? Do it now. Do it now!
As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It is time to bring this despicable student to justice.
Certainly, the testimony that the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdict of the trial. Why are you raising your hand? What in the name of the Empire is the meaning of this outburst? The defense demands its right to cross-examination. He's just like raising his hand like it's a class.
Dear me, dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaki headband boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic.
Huh? How did he know?
The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
He has a name. The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it, it's irrelevant. Someone is so commanding. Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses. Alright, this is where the battle really begins, Ryunosuke. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination. Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witnesses' testimonies, statements. Blah, 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 blah. I can't read. How? Simp. You didn't fire the gun, which means that what that soldier said has to be a lie. He better not die, I'll cry. I will cry too. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it. And the key to doing it is evidence. Right. Evidence. All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now let's go, Ryunosuke. Don't let them beat you. Alright then. It's all or nothing. I like how Ryunosuke's, like, dye pen was not a proper dye pen. It's just, like, him, like, slapping the desk. I was ingesting regulation beefsteak. Why aren't you saying anything? Is this some new interrogation technique? I hadn't actually thought of what I wanted to ask. Just ask about anything that catches your attention. Anything that bothers you. Alright then, why, this beef steak you mentioned, what kind of food is that? Jianshun! Beef steak is a delicious cut of veal vigorously cooked on a cast iron grill and served piping hot. Oh. If Fu could receive medals of honor, why is there that noise? Would be as highly decorated as a cutlet. Maybe not. Right, I see. Thank you, sir. So, next question. This cutlet you mentioned, what kind of food is that? Cutlet is a delicious cut of veal tossed in breadcrumbs and deep fried in cooking oil. Accept your guilty verdict, atone for your crimes, and when you're released from prison, try it! Yes, sir, I will, sir. On the double, sir. Sorry to interrupt, but how about trying to stick to questions that are relevant to the case? Oops, sorry. I'll do my best. So, next question. Is it just me, or do you keep hearing a sort of wah crying noise? Negative! Well, at least we've learned that he's a big beef lover. Affirmative. Maybe I'll just not, I got an achievement that you can't see. It's not easy knowing what questions to ask. I might just stop doing the voice acting. I myself was extolling, or just do it like softer. I myself was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. I have no idea what you're talking about. A Koban boy. A Koban? You mean an old Endo coin? The day prior to the incident, a treasure of exponential value from the Hoei period entered my possession. Yeah, I'm gonna like cut it back on the stuff. For like maybe more intense scenes I might do it, but like I'm gonna, or like with this guy, like his voice doesn't really bother mine. Like it's the deeper stuff that really bugs my throat. So I might just have to make everyone a bit higher pitched. My natural pitch is a bit higher, which has the unintentional effect of making me sound like a 14-year-old boy, which is kind of funny. The day prior. Okay, I already read that. It's fine, yeah. I took myself to the restaurant the following day with said items secured in my bosom pocket, in the hope of an affluent, cognizant praised of its indisputable value being present. So, you were hoping to sell your Koban coin? to Sergeant Nosa, who you met at the restaurant?
Yes, it's quite clear where you're going with this, boy. You were about to assert that that a penniless soldier would have no hope of purchasing a precious koban. Isn't that so?
Well... You little upstart cadet! You want to add disrespecting a superior officer to your list of crimes, do you? Blatant subordination!
No, I didn't say anything.
Although penniless might just be the word I was looking for.
In any case, the hour was already advanced beyond that of the midday luncheon. There remained precious few present with whom I could engage in discourse about matters of business. The gentleman beside me, who was grappling with his braised veal at the time, was my sole prospect.
I see. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. Yes. If I'm remembering correctly, this game originally did not have an official dubbing or official translation, so it was just like a fan translation for a while, and then Capcom, I guess, made it to where it was more official. I think that, or this is the unofficial one. I'm not entirely sure.
So you're saying that you actually saw me at that time?
Affirmative! I saw you! Laughing, cackling like a madman as you trained the barrel of your gun on that English civilian. Yeah, it probably is. Ow. But that's impossible. I only... Allow me to confirm just one point, please. What's that, Private? Thinking carefully about the statement you just made, it seems to me that it must have been just after you heard the gunshot that you looked over to the victim's table. And so what if it was? Well, if that was really the case, I'd mean you didn't in fact see the precise moment when the killer actually fired the gun. Ah! A double ah! My sixth sense. Sorry? My sixth sense of danger. I picked up the waves of murderous energy radiating from your foul mind. Which means... A split second before you pulled the trigger, I was looking at you, cadet! Surely that's not really possible. Is it? Do you think I've got where I am today in the army if I couldn't sense danger in the air, son? Well... It would seem the soldier is absolutely convinced that he saw you do the deed. This is not good. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back. Hold on, I'm gonna press E. To the chest. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna press all of these, and then I'm gonna... Yeah, it was from the back, but according to this, went to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Yeah, I'm gonna press that, and then after I press the last two things, I'm gonna present that to them. Because I kind of want to see what they all say. So this black uniformed cadet, you're saying that was... Ah! I've had just enough of your sauce, cadet! Who else do you see around here in a black uniform, huh? Well, there's someone standing right next to me who fits the description as well, but... It was you, you little weasel! You unloaded the firearm on that man! From behind his back! And you call yourself a civilian of the great Empire of Nippon? You disgust me! What is it, Ryunosuke? I'm not quite sure. It's something that the sergeant just said, but I can't put my finger on it. Something's playing on my mind. Oh, the music got quieter. In that case, check back over the details of the evidence you gathered in the court record. If you find an inconsistency there with what this is you just said, then don't hold back. Present the evidence to the court. Thrust it in the witness's face and make him choke on it. I was on my hands and knees, investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio.
Yes!
On your hands and knees? Could you explain that, please?
That's right. Spurning the arthritis, I was in order to retrieve the lost piece.
What lost piece are you referring to?
The Koban, of course. The exquisite Hoenn-era Koban coin. I had just been showing the rare treasure to the military man as he masticated his meal. And after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was no more. Simply vanished. The Koban vanished? Hence, I began to acquaint myself with the intricacies of the floor in order to locate it. And then it happened.
You heard the gunshot, you mean?
None other than that. Though it was no concern of mine, I was frantically scouring the floor for the aforementioned lost treasure.
So, in fact, you didn't actually witness the precise moment when the incident occurred?
Indeed. Myself, I did not.
I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here. Listen, Ryunosuke. We know that there are lies lurking in the statements. It's time to expose them. I understand that. The question is, how? Like I said before, the key to this is using evidence that you've collected. You can examine and present evidence while witness is giving testimony by pressing E. Go through each witness statement and the details about each piece of evidence and compare all the facts. Somewhere in there, you'll find something that doesn't add up. In other words, an inconsistency. Yeah, get their ass. An inconsistency. When you find a statement and a piece of evidence that seems to contradict each other, present your evidence with R and rip those witnesses apart. I've only been on one case and it's been like an hour and 35 already. Wow. Just be careful, because if you assert a contradiction that has no basis, you'll be given a penalty. If you're dealt too many penalties, the defense's case will fall apart, and you'll receive a guilty verdict. So that's it. Peruse the evidence in the courtroom and find the inconsistency with a witness's statement. Alright, I'll give it a try. You can hear the witness's statement over and over again, as many times as you like. So, keep your head, and be measured in your attack. Good luck, partner. And I'm going to press E. Now the question is, which one do I present? I hope it's not this. I'm gonna present this first. But if it turns out it's this, I'm gonna be mad.
Yes!
Is it? Everyone's silent. What? What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Thrusting this wad of papers in my mustache. Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes. He keeps looking, like, down at his hands every time he does this. I mean, yes, there's a clear inconsistency here.
Tisk! What nonsense. What can this document possibly tell us that we don't already know?
Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth.
I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom.
Shut the fuck up. Ouchie. Ah, this is so frustrating. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spill it out would be an insult to the court. Kazuma? What? What are you talking about? It's apparent from a single glance at the post-mortem report presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement. What? Sergeant. Yes, no, sir. Yes, sir. What, sir? The statement you just made was this. The black, uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir. Yes. But no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Because... Help. Help me. As clearly stated on the post-mortem report, fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistic trauma. No exit wound. Bullet did not pass through the body. The photographic print of the victim clearly shows the same thing. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? There's a child! What the? Oh, what the? What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it down again. It was a child! Certainly there is a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa? Ohio for real. Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious La Carnival steak, sir. What? The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant I.S. Nosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all. That's absurd. I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. There's a child! There's a baby! There's a baby behind that man! There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. Oh, background's gone. So this is what being an ace attorney is about. But I definitely saw him. The baby! That university cadet there. He was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back. But I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up off the floor. And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either? Myself? I have already been quite clear. The gunshot is just me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Oh yes, you were looking for your Koban coin, weren't you? Indeed. The prized Hoei-era Koban. Hunting down around under the table I was, in case mayhap it had fallen there. And then it happened. You heard the gunshot, you mean? Indeed I did, but I heeded it not, for I was concerned with finding my absconded Hoei treasure. Nothing could distract me. Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end?
No.
I think I know where it might have gone. I think the baby might have it. I see.
That lamentable day, the precious Hohe Koban was lost to me. No doubt some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself.
As I'm sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard is inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British, it would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Worry not, Your Excellency. The defense may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at his back. My witnesses have further testimony to make.
Explain.
Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could have possibly committed this despicable crime.
Okay, just checking something on my phone.
The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
I was checking something on my phone.
What?
He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Very well. The court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear?
As clear as Kiriko glass, Your Excellency.
Yes, sir. At once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir. Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative. The newest member of the NSFW to rise up through the ranks, sir. Name, Ido. It would seem those straps are a sign of the sergeants being too strapped to afford a ninny. Ido, attention! Your father is about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy.
So cute!
Oh, little baby. Little baby. Little baby. The true culprit. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing.
Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man he was, that young man in the black. That much I myself did see.
The dad doesn't have a babysitter, I guess. And I guess the mom either is in the picture or she's working as well. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time affirmed that we were the only personnel present.
Indeed, alone he was, the English gentleman, dining all by himself.
Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out. These testimonies are blooded. I didn't read that. Wait, that's nonsense. The victim, Dr. Wilson, he wasn't alone at all.
Please, enough of these outbursts already.
But there was a woman. There was a young woman at his table. What are you whatting? You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her. Unless it was a ghost.
If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies. It is evident beyond all reasonable doubt the victim was alone at the table of the incident. At the time of the incident. Prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact.
Is that a photograph print of the scene of the crime, Counsel?
Indeed. Of the table at which the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident.
It could be.
As can plainly be seen, there is only one place set.
Certainly, based on the appearance of this print, it would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else. Can I... This is cool.
This doesn't make any sense.
The court will address this new photographic evidence to the record. The photographic print of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Not courtroom. I don't understand. What's going on here? It's just not possible that nobody else saw that woman. The waiter before this said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well. But that's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him. It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report. Written on time after all. The witness testimonies that we have just heard leave no further room for doubt.
These are very sensitive political times, as we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. And to think I, Takasuchi Auchi, will have contributed to the amity of these two great empires as an honor.
This thing. The judge's freaking rule. Stand tall, Rinosuke. It's not over yet. What? You really don't like Ouchie, huh? If what you say is true, then there's something going on behind the scenes. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth, in your cross-examination. I don't know, Kazuma. The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witnesses, but make it quick. Understood?
Tisk, rule can be so unbending at times.
The true culprit. Even if I saw... What I saw wasn't the precise moment of the firearm discharging?
Yes!
It's not the same thing at all. For start, I didn't fire that gun. We have a difference of opinion on that. The opinion of an uniformed officer versus that of a fledgling cadet. I don't think so.
Consider this, defendant. Just a moment ago, I blinked.
Did you?
Did you see it? Did you see me blink?
How could I?
And yet, it is an undeniable fact that I did blink. So there you have it.
Have what? Tension! The sound of the firearm rang in my ears, and the very next moment, I saw you waving the gun at the Englishman.
I think that says it all. Don't you? And let us not forget the antique dealer witnessed the accused in this most incriminating position as well. Isn't that so? So, Korakuta-san.
Yes, pointing his gun at the foreigner man. Yes, it may be true I was holding a gun at that point in time. But I've told you already, that's only because I picked it up off the floor. Well, obviously as a culprit, that's the only way you could have explained it that way. I had just finished drinking my coffee, and I was about to leave the restaurant when I noticed a gun on the floor at Dr. Wilson's feet, so I picked it up. At that exact moment, a gunshot rang out of my ears.
Full events beyond our control. Control life is.
Sorry? What do you mean?
In your case, you found a pistol on the floor and picked it up, which precipitated this testing predicament. Whereas conversely, I failed to pick up the Koban from the floor and find myself in an equally testing predicament as well. Anyway, the fact remains. Myself, I did see you, with the pistol in hand, standing over the foreigner.
Furthermore, a visual search of the premise at the time confirmed that we were the only person. I'm gonna. Space. Is that mirror? Does that look like another glass? Almost. That's not gonna count though if I try that. Oh, there was this. Okay. You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there.
As you've been at pains to point out each and every time and time again, I feel I am growing a callus in my ear. And yet, no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman.
There have been more people dining in there at the time. Then someone else would have noticed her. Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. The quiet time between lunch and dinner at any restaurant. I know, of course the place is almost empty. It's what you'd expect. Certainly. 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of a time to eat. I wonder if that was the reason why the victim was eating at that time of the day, and why he was alone.
Yes, Your Excellency, there was indeed a reason.
There was?
It was found in the victim's jacket pocket.
What is that, Counsel?
It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant.
How's that clinic? Yes, there would indeed appear to be an entry for the date in question. 19th November, noon to past 1 p.m. The very day of the incident. So the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on the case. I wonder. What do you think, Ryunosuke?
Well, it is hard to see how it could be related, really.
Remember, you can request for it to be entered into court record as evidence if you think it could be useful. I'm going to. If I may, I'd like to ask for that medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency. On what grounds? The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Not to mention that the victim's movements prior to his arrival at the restaurants are of no concern. Whether or not they are of concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore also all possible avenues. I beg your pardon? You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence. Very well. The court will grant the defense's request.
Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's a most disturbing trend.
You just, don't like the fact that you're not respected anymore. Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report to the court record.
The victim's medical report card has been entered into the court record.
What we read right now is new clues. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right, I hear you.
You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you'd like, but it's the day after the festival already for you. Or perhaps you've forgotten that these witness testimonies leave no room for doubt.
I don't know yet. I'm gonna check it.
Feel free to reiterate the accused, Gordicus-san.
Oh, I can check it now. Oh, I can't check it now. Whoops.
Let me... I can't check it! Crap.
Actually saw that with your own eyes, did you? The victim, Dr. Wilson, dining alone?
That I did. Forgive me for the position I place you in.
So the testimonies of the old man, the soldier, and the waiter all agree on that point. Isn't that interesting? Let us not forget the incontestable evidence we have to support their statements as well.
As can be clearly seen, there is only one single beefsteak.
Wait a minute. What if he wasn't the one eating? Oh my god, what if he wasn't the one eating? The antiques dealer, the sergeant, and the waiter who testified before. It's not impossible that they're all lying. Yeah. Court record. It's like two different cuts here. Why is the fork clean? I genuinely am confused. I'm not seeing anything. But if so, then why? If I'm perfectly honest, I have absolutely no idea. The other photo? This one. Salmon. I can't really see it that well. Wait. In this one, the glass is empty. But this one has full... What? Why does this one have wine in it, or sake in it? But this one doesn't. There's no sake in here. What the hell? It's like empty. There's like a little bit of sake in here. Or, like, possibly no sake. It's kind of hard to tell because the photo is grainy. Wait, is the victim sitting opposite? Yeah, why is he sitting this way? The chair was faced that way. Why was he faced that way? I have no idea. If I'm perfectly honest, I have absolutely no idea. Mood. Therefore, well, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Oh, over and out.
Yes.
Why aren't you... What? Blah, 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 blah. I clearly remember. A woman there. There was a woman sitting across the table from the professor. Perhaps one of you might not have noticed? But for both of you to have failed to see the professor's dining companion? It's just not possible. Unfortunately for you, Defendant Naruhodo, it's just not a case of these two witnesses alone. Sorry? The waiter, whose testimony in the court heard earlier, clearly stated the same thing. He also said that the victim was alone. That's right. Precisely, in other words, you were the sole proponent of this phantom lady. But if such a woman were to indeed present this scene, the prosecution demands to see proof. And if such proof exists, then the prosecution demands that no further mention of this phantom woman be made. That business card has to... Yeah. It's a blatant waste of the court's time. Yeah, you're right. Let me see. Same, honestly. So this is supposedly where the guy was sitting. Then why is nobody else marked? I wonder. Like, why is that guy the only person that's marked? And also, why did this guy not want to give away the card? There's nothing I can say to that. Oh, shoot. Excellent work, Marinosuke. We've gleaned some new information now. What information? Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. I can't see that it brings any discrepancies to light. I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you got before. Yeah, the only person that's possibly marked on it is that one dude. Oh, you mean this? Yes. This is a brand new piece of evidence, so perhaps we should examine it a little more in a little more detail. How exactly? You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear magnifying glass. These are the ones you may examine. Press space, and you can take a closer look at the piece in question. Use up, down, left, right. Wait a minute! I can rotate it! No! I could have done that this entire time! To rotate the evidence in all directions, examine it from all angles. By using WASD. WASD to look up and down. Oh my god. You can move the crosshairs around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. If the crosshairs start pulsate, press space to investigate further. I'm gonna check the card. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there isn't something new to be learned by examining it in more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Use up, down, up, left, right, up, left, down, right, WASD, and space. About the clinic. Oh, what's this? Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. Ah, and there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. He wouldn't have been able to eat the steak! It's too hard! It's too chewy! It's not soft enough! A steak's not hard, it's not soft enough for a tooth! That you just had molar! Extraction of molar, you mean he had a tooth taken out? It would seem so. Just before the incident, he'd had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they used laughing gas. That's the most modern effects in the West for pain relief. Yes, I've never heard of this anesthesia. I misread that. I've heard this anesthesia. Though it's hard to believe that there's anything that can actually stop you from feeling pain. Oh, there's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink beside water for 3 hours post-procedure until anesthetic effects have passed. Really? Oh my god, yes! Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. The medical report information has been updated! Yes! With this new information, the meaning of that one particular statement, it totally changes! Yes! Definitely! Even if I saw wasn't the precise moment, no. E. Yes! Finally! Well, I think, about what are you billtering about, lad? Call yourself a lawyer? I wish I could. But first and foremost here, I'm the accused. Ryunosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Huh? Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. Alright, and thanks for the advice. I actually did that perfectly timed. Korakuta-san, this is a medical report belonging to the victim. Ah, I see, and I don't see. What of it, boy? Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement. Something clearly doesn't add up. If you'd let me finish.
Dear me, dear me. Have you forgotten my word so soon, you amateur?
Sorry, what?
You're not to be interrupted.
Can you shut your witch-ass mouth, my dude, and let me finish?
You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateur's drivel.
But
let's see if I can explain it in words you might understand. Shut up! It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. However, he may or may not have done that before the time. That time is completely irrelevant.
Grr, but that's, Remember, Ryunosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point.
Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There is surely no need to prolong this further.
You need to shut up.
The witness's testimony in the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all. For that reason, there is no one else besides a pale-faced pupil who could
This medical report card has nothing to do with the case? Do you really believe that?
What? This Alfred petrified me, boy! He's actually getting confident now. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant?
Perhaps because Hota Clinic, which has issued the report card, is a dental clinic.
A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to you? Yes, it's your teeth!
Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted. What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result, the victim had been forbidden from eating. Everyone's just like, wait, just what are you trying to say, cadet? He had orders not to eat? So what? It's all written up here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthetic wears off. What? No, that can't... Korakuta-san. What, boy? What? As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally, there's more. You have assured the court that with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Grr. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the side effects of the anesthetic. Expertly done, partner. I think I'm gonna just like go stream for this case and then call it a night, because this case is long. What? What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are baseless accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of the food at the victim's table. Objection. Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic? How? How dare you? I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Reinosuke? Yes, most definitely. Though having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who, in fact, was eating the pictured beef steak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new putt. I assume you're ready, counsel? Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? He's just like, wait, oh crap, that's me! Right, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of your turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been... an as of yet unknown third party. And obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table. You will not let us go, will you? There was no such person! Yes! Yes, there was! There was! Because I saw her! When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was someone else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial, relentlessly. Kazuma, are you insane? You would take on the government? Don't worry, Counsel. I have no issue with you. What do you mean? I have an issue with them. Those two witnesses on the stand. What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So, if it now turns out the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously you two will be charged with perjury. Perjury? And, since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing. Complicit? In murder? No! Hold it. Negative. There was no mention of this at the local technical meeting. I was just following orders. That's right, as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they, told us. Who? Who told you? Oh. What? What did you just say, Karakote-san? No, no. You were just following orders? Now, hold on, lad. I was, Say you never saw the gentlewoman? Grr. When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas? What?
What? What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is this true, you pair?
Just one simple slip of the tongue. Order! Counsel, explain what is going on here. It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth.
Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this.
Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut? Well, that's classified. Oh, he's getting his mustache tugged on because the baby's crying. So you're prepared to be tried as conspirator to this murder, are you? You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Ryunosuke, judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Ouchi had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. The business card! The business card! I want to look at the business card! Can I do it right now? Oh! 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 It was the police! Well, that's unexpected. What is? Look, do you see it says a witness's name here? Saratu Hasanoga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the same. This name is unexpected. It's his job title. His job? Oh! Chief Inspector Saratu Hasanaga. Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? What on earth? I knew there was something sus about this card! I have no idea. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence. They're wielding somehow here. The waiter's business card information has been updated in the court record. Okay. This plan of the restaurant estate raises a number of questions, I think. Definitely. It's supposed to show the relative position of everything in the moments following the incident. But there's nothing to show the woman you say you saw there. Exactly! And that's not all. Look here in the upper left, where it says kitchen. Oh, yes, what of it? No one would use those complicated characters to write kitchen, especially not if they were in a hurry. You mean you don't remember those characters yourself, don't you? Study harder, Ryunosuke. Back. Well, any ideas about who might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried the silencing witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. We need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his own power here. Imagine if I discovered this earlier, and I was just like, oh my god, what? How? How can we possibly? Remember how we made progress before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result. Oh, yes, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it is proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe. Yeah, I was like, that business card is sus, especially considering that supposed waiter guy was like so reluctant to give it up. Please, wait, Your Excellency. I had no idea about any of this. I swear to every Shinto god, I knew nothing. And what does the defense have to say about all this? Well, Your Excellency. No time to think. I'm just going to have to close my eyes and shout the first name that comes to my head. Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is... Well, surely that would be... Satoru Hasanaga-san. Hasanaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier? Poppycock! What possible reason would the waiter have to make? These witnesses give false testimony. Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have that level of influence. For once, I would agree with you. If, that is, the man truly were a waiter. Huh? If he truly were? Come now, Rinosuke. Time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hasanaga-san's real identity as proven by this evidence. Yes. The plan in the restaurant sketched by the man in question? I agree it shows a great detail but, sorry, Your Excellency, it's the back of the card. It's the back of the cards. It's of the interest. Beg your pardon? Or perhaps I should have said the front. Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's what the telling detail is. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hasanaga-san sketched the plan on the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession, his true profession. The waiter's profession? But that's surely... Good gracious! That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads, Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. I can't speak. What? The waiter is a police detective? I have a feeling this stream's gonna be pretty long. And my Stardew one was like 2.5 hours. This is only the first try as well. I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before? The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power. Absolute power as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene? Well... Hold it. Did he show up? Inspector Hasanoga! Naga. I was worried something like this might happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. This court will now take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well... Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principles. I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake. So, you mean to say you really are a detective? But why would a detective be working at a restaurant as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course. Your salary must be terrible. I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes, there have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information.
This is a murder trial, sir. A murder trial that you, due to your actions, almost let a frickin' university student who had nothing to do with what happened get put in jail for a crime he did not commit. So you are probably legally obligated to give this information away now because you almost let a civilian get blamed for a crime that he did not actually did not actually commit. So, I'm sorry, but you are spouting baloney.
Which I am not at liberty to divulge.
I can't stand this trial either! It's a good introduction to the game, but like, my god.
However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to the.
Are you sure about that?
Very well then, Inspector Hosanoga-san. But you will elaborate on one point for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you required these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable! As I suspected. Bang. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim had sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, the gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite to the victim at the same table was a young lady who I guessed to be an Englishwoman. So that the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the Bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say, remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest to not pursue that idea.
I don't think it would be in anyone's interest to not pursue that idea. It would be in everyone's best interest to pursue that idea, because you are just going to let some innocent dude get arrested, which is not okay.
The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect
would prove that it wasn't anyone in your country killing him.
Well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question.
I'm hoping he gets fired.
So that's the reason for this disappearance of the Phantom Woman at the scene. But it's not right. One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? Yuma University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain, and I'm fairly certain that one of them, studying the medical facility's research laboratory, is a young Englishwoman. What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean, when I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The Englishwoman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Giselle Brett. She was indeed a foreign student studying the research laboratory of Yuma University's medical facility. What is happening here? I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with the situation. Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a discretion of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point.
But, Your Excellency, that'd mean missing the new deadline of a ruling in order to send a telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be displeased by such actions.
Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my own courtroom. Inspector Hasanaga. Yes, sir? You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency.
At once, Your Excellency. But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau.
As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly, so it won't be a problem. Nothing will get in my way. You good, dude? Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Brett to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear? Yes. Your Excellency! Oh, I just knocked my laptop. Oops. I'm getting another cookie. Snack. Good. Then we will have a 35-minute recess before reconvening. It's so long. What the hell? If I can, I want to finish this trial. But if it goes on for too long, I might just, like, stop so I can get something to eat. I know! This is the beginning of the game. I do know that there's a lot of, like, trials in, other games that are, like, more obnoxious with how long they are. Like, one of the Apollo Justice cases, like, in the game, Apollo Justice, they kept reusing, like, this one bit that they animated and did, because apparently that was, like, something they were really proud of, so they kept reusing it over and over and over and over in that case. 22nd November, 11:38 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendants Antechamber 5. Yeah. Excellent work, Rinosuke. That was superb. Oh, my heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you'd started finding inconsistencies in all the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it, it's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, looks like we've exposed your Phantom Lady at last. You're right. Miss Giselle Brett. A student from Great Britain, is she?
That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start.
Excuse me. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I'm sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself, then, on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun laying on the floor, just after I bent down to pick it up. I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me in some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside the dining room area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Professor Mikotoba. Well, seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you've planned this from the start. You arranged things so I wouldn't be able to act as your lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid the situation that may have resulted in your study of tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What? What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma! Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes. You need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Who? Is it the girl that you're with? Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA. And it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I have no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight. Put right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you! Now then. I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama.
Defendant Naruhodo! Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once.
It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal with this a decisive blow. before these old fossils know what's hit them. Kazuma? What? Thank you. Really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer, and as a friend. Kazuma is the only one giving me sanity right now. Yes! Coming from you, that means a lot. I'm found guilty in this trial. He's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. If I have to, I'm gonna, like, look up stuff about the trial. But, like, I kind of don't want to, because I don't want to accidentally spoil myself, but if I need to, I will. Be like, okay, what is this? What do I do here? Be like, what order do I present this evidence in? I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. Paying him in food. Ah, yes. 22nd November, 12:09 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Courtroom 2. Where is the lady? The courts hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I can't read. Again. Prosecutor Ouchie. What have you managed to subpoena the witness? Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government. Sorry. Let the government scrutinize. It's their job. Nothing to worry about. It's highly unlikely that the good relations we forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Well, you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down on our nation founders? Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. I mean, that's a good point. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke. What do you mean? Secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England? Shut up! Shut up, you jumped-up rookie boy! You and your friend know nothing. Nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures. I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student, and one who could arguably study harder, too. But standing here right now in our Supreme Court, there is one thing I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Dang, that was wise. Well said, Ryunosuke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror. You little brats! Thank you, Counsel. This court is on the pinnacle of our nation's justice system, and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Mr. Zale Brett. Yes. Your Excellency! What? The fact that they somehow could get people to pretend she didn't exist
Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentleman to Japan, and from such a distant land. Tea! Someone bring English tea! In England! No discussion takes place without tea. Simps. Simps, all of them. Is that true? No idea. So, ahem. Could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court? Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter at Oh, but yes, we know all about you already. Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today, you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Oh, yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description of this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty. So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please. Where are her eyes? Why are you doing that? What the fuck? What did she just say? I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but... What? Oh, I get it. This is to portray that she only speaks, like, a different language than what they can understand. The lady says her name is Jezebel Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student, currently enrolled in University's medical facility. Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dialect tones of the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was beautiful as a hummingbird's song. As far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. You'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. This doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Nor do you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryunosuke. I haven't, apparently. I can't understand a word she said. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. That 3 days ago, at a restaurant called La Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct? She says, yes. This could take some time. So, even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting. When you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau. Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes on this photographic print? Typical colonizer behavior. Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps? Unless she is the perpetrator. Apparently, it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say... Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. Either she witnessed it, or... No, it couldn't have been him. The very moment when the accused, standing right there at this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. Nobody dressed like this is normal. Order! Order in the court! Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolute conclusive witness statement.
I doubt that.
Well, it looks like it is clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. It's gonna be through his words, isn't it? Dang it. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long after, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. No. You were a liar. You shot him. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. You were a liar. This is condemning testimony. No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all. Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard. Look at this Snow-White angel. She's no angel, she is a demon in disguise. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe. Ugh. You're still making the same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. It's a lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took some statements from this lady and the two witnesses who testified before and reported back to the bureau. Stop simping for the colonizer. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last two witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so, on the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. You can see, there is nowhere about a person where she could have concealed a firearm. She could have done it in her hat! Unless and until the precise location where the witnesses have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot. She could have literally hid it in her hat, or in like any of the frills on my pocket in her dress. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. These are the witnesses' own words on the matter. Oh, that's ridiculous. Okay, that's not a good thing to think, but yeah, you got a good point there. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke. But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there at that day. You're right about that. Which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart. Why is she smirking? The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. Frightening and... Okay, I'm gonna go... present. Look what I have. The symbol of Yume University. Every student wears this pin with pride. It's funny, but most emblems seem to be either round or rectangular. I like this spike design, even though it doesn't really make sense. Although it does cause problems. Lots of students end up cutting their fingers on the badges. Perhaps it was the idea of one of the founders. A sharp pin for a sharp line or something. Personal student number is engraved on the back here. If you lose your pin, they won't accept you as a Yume student at the university. You may not come in, they say. Of course, you can get a new pin made if you can just tell them your number. I actually lost mine twice already, but I still don't know my student number by heart. I always say to myself, I mustn't forget to write it down somewhere. But then I forget not to forget that. I thought he'd say something else. I guess not. Z. It's called a clinic on this medical report card. I hate clinics almost as much as I hate hospitals and surgeries. Aren't they all the same? When I was 5, I caught the only cold I've ever had in my life. I remember even though I felt awful already, I had to have this hideous injection in my right arm. I'll never forget it. I ruined my whole life. Most people would have given their right arm who would give their right arm to have had only one cold in their life. Anyway, I don't think this is a clinic where they treat people for illnesses like that. Let's keep looking for clues. This is probably from earlier, but like, hey, I skipped it. So, phew. After 2 p.m. In fact, that's really quite late lunch, isn't it? You don't keep up with the latest fashion trends from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are en vogue, isn't that right? No. You got schooled. A decisive English no is quite distinct to it. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. So it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would eat lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment in the clinic first. Yes, which we could prove with the medical report last minute as evidence earlier. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which was why it was so late. Yes, that all makes perfect sense. Such wonderful logic. What a shining example of it. English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is. So you both arrived at the restaurant? What happened next? Unable to eat, so... He was unable to eat, you say? And that would be because he just had a tooth removed at the clinic, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering? Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. She'd heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak prior. Isn't that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. Print you of there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left? Dear me, what a horrifying experience! To have traveled a distant island on the far side of the world to be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight. So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all? That's right. Other than some carbonated water. Just water? Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They each... There's only one glass! It's very meaningful. That's the last statement of yours, Miss Brett. That's profound bearing on this case. Well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing, The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony. Must... Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. The mask changes! That was brilliant, Cosima. I'm going to remember that one. Which one? The sign of significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Ryunosuke. Nope. Only one glass.
Yes!
That's it! The way he, like, looked at me. Let me just frame something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That was that was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, it's odd. Very odd. Dear me, what's odd is the defense's inability to express itself. Reinosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you? Well, obviously, it's the cheers. The cheers? Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. You're right, quite right, Trouncil. There's only 1 glass pictured here. Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minuta? Minute? What difference does the presence or absence of a glass make in this case? It's a cheers! Minute, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try to tell me that you can clink with only 1? You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table. What? It was all so terrifying, everything that had happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact I had been there at all, she's saying. Good gracious. Well, where did you hide it? Sorry. There, as I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all. Oh, please. You must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in a state of disarray? That's absurd! Oh, really? So, do we take it that you're now going to accuse vulnerable young and beautiful woman of mischief? What? No. This can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. It would seem that she slipped into a small handbag she was carrying! Where is your handbag? Where is your handbag? A handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency. A small, handheld pouch, carried by well-to-do women in England. Ha 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 ha. Add that to the testimony! So the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass is absolutely bare. No, it does! The student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning. If that's logical reasoning, then how is it confusing? It's logical. But in the end, it comes to nothing. Good for a weapon. No pretentious accusations. You waste enough time already. Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed this glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement? No! Well... You want to pursue this matter further? Yes. So she took the glass away in her handbag. Is there something deep? The handbag. Wait! The lady put the glass in her handbag, you say? Yes, do try to keep up.
It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items. Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets on my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which it would have been perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right! Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that too. What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard? It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire the gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will. You can't seriously be suggesting. Inspector Hasanoga. Naga. Yes. Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? No. No, sir, I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's bag. No! Really lean. Order! 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 What is the meaning of this, Inspector? The meaning of what, Prosecutor Ouchie? Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations. Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Kazuma? You good, man? Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly, you have no faith in the police. Excuse me? As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after shooting. Simply because it was unnecessary. Are you sure? Unnecessary in what way? Ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I have completely forgotten about. You can't just conveniently say that. This photographic print. Ah. This print is a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. What is this? As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never. You can see right through what's inside. But that doesn't mean that there isn't a hidden compartment. That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. Ah! As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. I mean, unless she had it wrapped up in something like a cloth, then no one could see it. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san. Wow. I love the I don't know. Order! Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once. Certainly, Your Honor. Or Excellency. My bad. The photograph of the handbag has been entered into the court. I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness counsel. No, I haven't. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As a photographic print, I'm gonna... What is this? A bull? What is that? I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Indeed, and there is only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the desk before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime.
No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn these things around. I'm in the worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student. But the weak are meat while the strong eat. You are wasting your time. There is no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew onto your heart's content from the inside of your cell. This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime I didn't commit? And Kazuma. His dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Nope. Kazuma. What? Is there really no chance now of turning this around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph that detective which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling. Seems we'll be able to report that to British government on time after all. That smug little. Consider all of the evidence placed before me. I hereby find you. Wait. Wait. Your Excellency. Ryunosuke. I don't think you can rule in this case yet. This amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom. Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photograph print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter. I must make my ruling. Now that means that if there was a problem with the evidence in significant detail, then the ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question. Objection! This blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentleman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence. You better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone this court scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we're there's this! My thoughts exactly. The prosecution was getting tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes. Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. I can't put my finger on it. Very well, I will grant the defense one final opportunity. What? But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at the photograph print. Inspector Osanaga submitted before. You will identify where... I'm looking it up now. I don't know what to press. Da, 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 da.
Um... I think I might have screwed up. Maybe. I'm looking it up. Currently, I'm trying to find it. Okay. It is what I'm thinking. I was thinking it was that, but I wasn't sure. So I had to look it up to be, like, sure if that would actually work. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description. Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle he would come out with. Burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly it has nothing whatsoever to do with Magnificent Lady's hand, but... Oh, wait, I get it! Oh, I know. There's a burn mark, you're right. Oh, go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing a post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the case cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report. What did I tell you? Case, we have no idea. I think I do. I was just searching for, like, I didn't really process anything other than, like, the mark part in the wiki that I found, like, the walkthrough that I found. But I think I know what that is. The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, as prosecutor she points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time. I'm gonna examine. This thing! This! It's this! It's this! It's this! It's this thing! This! This! Ah! This cow thingy! Ah! He reached across or something! He must have reached across! Oh! Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the dean and other university staff. No! You are a murderer! No! She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now. Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway. What's your thinking on this, Marinosuke? Do you believe this burn does Yes, it does! To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging, in the hope of that I might uncover something. Please. Yes, you're right. I am? If we can just link that burn to the case, if we can just do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again. Just give up, Counsel! You can't possibly hope to do that! Indeed, I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow... I'm going to find evidence! But if we have evidence that irrefutably linked the burn to the victim's wrist to the case, then you would allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was that the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. Time to find some evidence that proves what burn really means. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an burn in this trial. That thing. What's this, Counsel? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency.
I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. Do hurry up, rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further would really be quite inexcusable. Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason it was recorded here forevermore. What? How? You shut up, Ouchie. You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn? Present. That the beefsteak? Actually, the point is the little metal plate the beefsteak was served on. The plate? Ah. Oh! Your Excellency, are you alright? As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess at some point, sort of tradition at La Carnival. Oh! This emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn are the exact same shape. Ah! Ryosuke, you genius! You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant. Oh! Objection! But if that is the case, you can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been in the day before, or the day before that. Most likely happened some other remarkable time. Well, Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly. But... I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. It was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I have not heard of anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of La Carnival, I can justify that without a hesitation. But you're a detective, not a waiter! Yes. There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet Inspector Hosonaga has never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any before it. That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his hand on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, that would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, all of us without any question, would have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Professor Ouchie? Huh? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? Because he was shot at the same time he burned himself! I almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think... Can it really be true? I've never dreamt we would arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. Huh? There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already deceased. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. It's clearly impossible, apart from one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes. Yes, it's only possible. If the man was already dead. Already dead? Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness! Who's to say the water wasn't poisoned? Order! Order! Order, please! Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts. No, Prosecutor Ouchie. It's you who has no grasp of the facts. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered a burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not a grasp that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If this is true, we now believe that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard. It's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement. But, Your Excellency, that justice system of our country may be in its infancy. But rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I'm prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. She's not happy about that. Why are you smiling? What was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. You could speak Japanese this whole time? Miss Brett, you speak Japanese? Well, of course I do. I'm studying in your country after all. White people moment. But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible.
That's racist. That is racist.
It seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen.
Yeah, excuse me?
So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level.
You should have been doing that anyway because that's polite. If you know the language, then you speak it. There's a reason you learned the language.
Oh, well, you are the epitome of a true English No, you're not. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you've so graciously afforded us. I see.
And besides, Miss Brett is playing a dangerous game here by insulting them. Because, like, sure, she's not on court, but, like, once this is after, she's probably going to remember that she insulted them.
In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. I want to see her eyes. I want to know what eyes she has. So we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting. Someone should jump her. Things are getting interesting, Reinosuke. Witness testimony. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glass in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides a gunshot. That's because they didn't actually do an autopsy. If there was some other way a man's life could be taken without leaving a trace, please, do show me.
Poison exists, ma'am.
But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. Again, I wouldn't insult the country you're in a trial for in a trial at anyway. That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it. I hope that is the last time I'll have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tone.
Shut up! Stop it!
Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone.
You've insulted everyone in this country. The country being that you are in Japan currently, and you were saying that their language is vulgar?
It is just Japanese. Japanese is a really cool language. Like, dude. Not at all, not at all. It's a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. It seems very clear from their testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today.
No, you won't.
The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen.
You shut up.
Thanks. Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. She just realized she fucked up. She's like, oh wait. He catches stuff. Uh-oh. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. You've said that before! If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Crystal, sir! Why did he slap himself? Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination. Why did he slap himself? Me too, honestly, just smack. I clapped my hands there, if you couldn't tell. I wasn't about to slap myself in the cheek. Yes. But his hand was a searing hot plate. You can't have noticed, not have noticed that. Do you think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry. Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't not have noticed that, can you? Huh? What? Well, why are you looking at his crotch? What fun. You hadn't realized. Dear lady is absolutely right. How can you tell? You're behind a freaking thing. As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Reinosuke. Miss Ma'am, why were you staring at his crotch? That's kind of weird. Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream.
Ayo. We do not stand Miss Brett in this house.
Oh, yes. Simp. Simp. Point and laugh. Simp. Yes. Well, I can't. Anyway. Don't you anyway me, Miss Ma'am. Yes. As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right? In jail. Mr. Wilson was only permitted water at the time, if you remember. Which explains why he ordered that drink, correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, sir. Although, whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak onto the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that. Damn you. No! I have enough English to understand that, at least. For the benefit of the others in the court, it means bless you. I think it means the exact opposite. Anyway... As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. Yes. Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us, as there is no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death. It can only be the bullet from your gun that put the end... that doesn't make sense! The burn must have happened straight away. When the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had been cooled even slightly, you wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim has burned his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought from the kitchen, then he must have already been dead at that point. And yet the fact is the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. And until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time. I concur. Prosecutor Ouchie is right. If there's some other way to blah, 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 blah. I pressed the wrong thing. She had to have poisoned him somehow, but I don't know how. Without leaving a trace. If someone is shot, or strangled, or stabbed, or thrown from a height, however a person's made life mistaken, there are also telltale traces in the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga? As I've said, I've always aimed for the flawless investigation. There could be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no, perish the thought, calling out such a sweet young lady's innocence to the question. On my honor, I, Takatsuchi Archie, will cut down any who dare cast such aspersions. Any way of killing someone with that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back this up here. Yes, evidence. Frickin' what evidence? I might have to look this up again. Inferior? What do you mean by that? Google time, maybe, yeah. In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. In this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. This guy's just like, oh crap. It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can. You understand? No, you're not. A killer blow. The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Sexually admitted to our place may be flawed. This prosecutor Ouchie has finally seen some sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't quite seem right. What do you think? Rinosuke, I think something's it's going terribly. His press are not turning up anything new information. Tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean we have to find a way. There must be some clue to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma? What, Rinosuke? There is one thing I noticed. Something has been bothering me. Bothering you? You know about Miss Barrett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her. Professor Hosonaga. The detective? Yes. He seems to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be something significant. Might be present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. You think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then. I was wondering what Kazuma was thinking. Let's find out soon enough, I suppose. Once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again.
Yes!
Inferior. Fuck. How do I... There it is again. Detective's reaction just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. With this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right. Look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. Why does he have a sword? It's time to pursue the man in his train of thought. Sorry? Pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Rinosuke. It's all to do with the witness's marker. Oh! What marker? In that moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who is the actual person making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right with A and D, you can turn your attention to the other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with space. If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. I might end this at the 4-hour mark, because this is such a long case. But, like, this is so good. Because I need to eat soon. Alright then, so first I should move the marker across with A and D and focus on the detective. Then pursue him with space and see what's on his mind. Here we go.
Wait.
Excuse me. Ah, what's the meaning of this? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really is lost in thoughts. Deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard it when the lady next to you had to say? Yeah, it's really good, but it's like way too long. If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court. What's the meaning of this? I love the music, though. It's very pretty. It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately. Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. Huh? The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes! Not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes, if you don't mind. I would like to speak. She minds. Clearly. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain, which is why Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I am involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Uh-oh. She's uh-ohing. Is that... This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day, our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming. I guarantee it. Oh, please tell me he didn't drink any of it. Please. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept this bottle of water as evidence. The carbonated water bottle has been entered into the court record. I'm gonna examine that. Miss Brett, can you confirm this is indeed the bottle of which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Yes, it was that bottle. What's that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well, counsel. You know what? I think I might end the stream after I finish this one. Because, like, I'm really involved in this now. Who cares if I eat late? I've been eating, I had snacks of cookies. I'm good. I'm not too hungry right now. The inspector will kindly control his fervor. Okay, yeah. Examine